guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's dark and you guys can barely see me, but I really wanted to come on right quick and make this video. I really wanted to, and once I get home, I know I'm not going to be able to, and I wanted to make this video while like everything is like really fresh and raw, and but today I actually set foot in a church for the first time in months. For the first time since everything happened with my ex. I actually walked into a church building. And when I tell you, and it was crazy because I wasn't going for like a church service. Let me back up a little bit. So yesterday, a friend of mine called me and she was like, listen, my church, we're doing our feeding ministry, our street outreach ministry. And I know that's something that you used to do. I know that's something you enjoy. And I just wanted to see if you want to come. So I'm like, you know what? I really haven't in a while. And she was right. Like, that was something I loved. I love doing street outreach work. That is a passion of mine. It is something that I did enjoy. And I just wasn't really feeling in a place to do it the last few months. So I was like, okay, you know what? Sure, I'm going to go. So she's like, okay, just meet me at my church. And I'm like, okay, no problem. Do I need to bring anything? Like, what do you guys need? Can I donate anything? So today I go to meet her at her church and I'm fine. Like, I was actually looking forward to it. Like, all day long, I'm like, oh, this is what I'm doing this afternoon or this evening. We were going up to Kensington, or Skid Row, as some people may know it, to feed the homeless. So I get to her church and I'm waiting for her to meet me there, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I had to text another girlfriend of mine and was like, I'm having the worst anxiety attack ever. I'm sitting in my car, I'm almost in tears. Like, I don't know. Like, when I say this was the first time in like 4 months that I've set foot in a church, and I don't know why. Like I said, I wasn't going for a church service. It was just the meeting place for this outreach. But I had like the hugest anxiety attack, and it dawned on me, like, this is spiritual abuse. This is one of the signs of spiritual abuse. This is PTSD from spiritual abuse. Like, just the thought, like, and I had said, like, I had come to the conclusion because, it's still the beginning of the year. So I'm like, oh, the first of the year, I'm ready to go back to a church. I'm ready to go into a church, go to church service, because I've only been watching services online. And there was, I said, I'm ready to go to a church. And just the thought of going into a church is enough to make me just bury my head in the blanket. Like, and I really wish there were more support. Like, I feel like churches need to recognize, or more churches, I don't want to say churches and generalize, because there are some churches, I'm sure, that do recognize what spiritual abuse is, but I wish more churches recognize what spiritual abuse is, and that there were more services, more supportive services geared towards survivors of spiritual abuse. And it was just really, really hard for me. And, so I'm talking I'm texting with my girlfriend as I'm waiting for my other girlfriend. I'm texting with my girlfriend, and she's just like, breathe. And, but she's also like, Mel, don't go volunteering your services. Don't, go making friends. Don't, and she's just like, and, don't go repeating the same patterns of that you had done previously, at the last church, where it was like, I was constantly doing, and I was constantly volunteering myself, and I was constantly, doing this, and I realized, like, not only within a church is that a habit for me, but in life in general, I'm always like, oh, you need help? I help you. Like, what do you need? What can I do? What do you want? But it was just really, I was so surprised at my reaction just stepping foot into a church. Like, I have no problem. Like I said, I listen to, I go to Bible study, several times a week. I do my daily devotionals every day. I'm, always, so hearing the word and listening to a church sermon, virtually is not an issue for me, but just going into the actual physical building of a church, I'm telling you guys, like, I was like literally sitting here, like, texting with her, like, oh my God, like, I really want to just, like, it was so bad. I just wanted to turn around and go home. And in all honesty, that would have been okay for me to turn around and go home. Like, that would have been okay. Like, I'm not ready. And I realized, even as far as finding a church, like, there's a church I really like. I watch all the time. But to actually go to their services in person, I'm not ready for that yet. Like, the anxiety surrounding it, and it's so hard to explain. It's so hard to explain what my fears are. But the anxiety around that is so crazy. And I just really wish more people would understand what spiritual abuse is, what church abuse is, what narcissistic abuse is, because people don't, like, it's still all very new, and not enough people are educated on it. Not enough people understand exactly what it is and what the effects of that type of abuse is. Like, this is just one area of my life that has been affected by the abuse that I suffered at the hands of my ex and at the hands of his church. And I will say this, though. I want to say this because I always look for the positive. Going out with this church, it was like, once I got over that initial anxiety, once I, got into the flow of things, it was really nice. It was really, really nice to be with them, to see how they operated versus how we operated. And they operated more like a church, if that makes any sense. They operated more like a church, ministering to people. Like, they weren't forceful with it. I don't want anyone to, like, take that away. Like, they weren't forceful. We were like, okay, our main goal is to get you fed, to give you supplies that you need, to make, and the spiritual aspect was second. And I appreciate that. That is one thing I've always been firm with in doing street outreach, is how, if you hungry and you cold, you ain't thinking about God, you thinking about your next meal. Like, and that's just keeping it real, like, on a human level. So before I can minister to your spiritual needs, I need to minister to your, physical needs, which is cold, hungry. I need a coat. I need hats. I need gloves. I need food, and then we can minister to your spiritual needs. But so they weren't forceful at all with it, but they were offering prayer. They were, and when I look back to what we did at the church, it was a totally different thing. But then I also recognized that because it wasn't a church, it was a cult. It was a scheme. It was a scam artist perpetuated by someone who found, a means to an end, basically. Oh my God, that's like a huge ass raccoon in the middle of the street. But anyway, like it was nice to see the difference. We opened in prayer, we ended in prayer, which is something that we never did at, my previous church. That was something that, just didn't happen. Like, when I say my ex, he was a pastor in name only. And it's so crazy because I look back now, and I see, like, I guess that could have been a red flag for me. Because you used God and you mentioned God and you prayed when it was convenient for you, when it suited a purpose. Whereas every morning I wake up, God, thank you for opening my eyes. It's a short, quick, simple prayer, but I say it. Thank you for this bag of chips. Well, I'm not eating chips right now because I'm kind of cleansing my body. But, it's so complicated. But like I said, I just wanted to come on here real quick and tell you guys, like, spiritual abuse is so real, and the effects of it is so real and goes so deep. Like, I was surprised, and I've been educating myself on exactly what spiritual abuse is. I've been educating myself on it, and it's still, my reaction still took me by surprise, because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, just going and, just going to feed people. But the fact that I was like almost frozen in fear, like I said, it really was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is the reaction that I'm having. So, like I said, I just wanted to share that with y'all. But I am home now, so I now have to go and cook dinner for my child, because my child is always hungry. He's at that stage where he could eat a whole pig and then turn around, Mom, what's for dinner? I'm hungry. Like, did you not just eat a whole pig, apple in the mouth and all? But y'all know how kids can be. But anyway, so thank you so much once again for coming on my page and listening. I do have some other content that longer content that I'm hopefully will be uploading sometime this weekend. But like I said, I just wanted to come on and share this with you. And if anyone else has experienced this, please let me know. Leave it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's talk about it. What is your understanding of what spiritual abuse is? Because January is Spiritual Abuse Awareness Month. So what is your understanding of spiritual abuse? Have you ever experienced spiritual abuse? And how do you cope with it? All right. Thanks, guys.